Hello and welcome to Colleen Zahn with Colleen Zahn. If you are familiar with Madison, Wisconsin, you may recognize me from such restaurants as Brasserie V, Harvest, or the Old Fashioned. What I hope to teach you today is to cook a healthy meal on a budget. Now, you also need to be adaptable. I use lots of substitutions in my recipes. Now, a recipe is basically an outline. Unless you're baking something, you really don't have to follow it exactly. I'm making a Thai curry, and I didn't have lemongrass, and so a good substitution for that would be lemon zest and ginger. Now, I didn't have a lemon in my house, so I actually just called my mom and said, hey, do you have a lemon? She was already coming over, and she had one and brought one over. I found that I have a coconut milk that I wanted to use today, so that's why I chose the Thai curry. So I'm gonna go over to my fridge and see what I've got. I already took out the carrots. I always have carrots. I like the ones that you have to peel because they stay fresher longer and they just taste better than the already pre-peeled ones. And they have a longer shelf life. Now, I know, because I looked in here before, that I have broccoli, so I'm gonna cook that. That's super easy. You just boil it in salt water for 3 minutes. Let's see, what else? Oh, I know that I have frozen peas. So those aren't actually a vegetable, but a legume. They're sweet and delicious, so why not? Now typically, I know that you would use a yellow or white onion when you're cooking in a recipe, and this is more for salads because it's pretty, but the flavor is pretty comparable. Actually, this is even milder than a white or yellow onion, so since that's the only one I have, that's what I'm going to use. After I figure out which veggies I'm going to use, I figure out which protein I'm going to use. Last time I went shopping, I actually got a chuck roast because that was on sale. Now, the unfortunate part is for the sake of our video, there's no way we can cook a chuck roast in 20 minutes. So I looked to see what other meat they had on sale at the store, and they had chicken drumsticks. So the good news is you get 2 dinners for the price of 1 today because I'm going to cook the chuck roast for dinner tomorrow and the chicken drums for dinner tonight. So I am going to roast them in a pan. The reason why I'm using a deeper one is because I'm actually going to save all the juice afterwards and freeze that. So let me start by preheating my oven to 375. At this temperature, the chicken legs will take about an hour. Now, after you've figured out your protein and vegetable, figure out what flavors you want to do, because that'll help you determine the starch. Typically, I would use Mexican spices because Mexican food is hands down my favorite food in the whole world, but I had already decided that I'm making the pot roast into barbacoas, so that's why I decided to do the Thai food, the chicken. So right now, I'm going to put the chicken into the pan. So now I'm going to just season it and throw it in the oven. So obviously start with a little salt and pepper. Then ginger is always a good one to use with Asian food. Some garlic powder. When it's cooking for a long time, I like to use the garlic powder over real garlic because if the real garlic were to happen to burn, it's going to taste disgusting and ruin your whole meal. So that's why I use the powder. Also, I'm out of garlic. Oh, and I want to use turmeric. Turmeric is so great for your digestive system, and this is not open. And also a good flavor in Thai food. It's in a lot of Thai curries too. So, and it's a pretty color. So, let's see if there's anything else I want to use. Maybe a little coriander. I'll again take all these spices and make a paste for when I'm making my curry. So, I am going to stick this in the oven. Okay, now I'm going to start slow cooking the chuck roast. So first, I am going to open it. And I'm actually going to cut it into pieces, since I'm going to end up shredding it anyway. So, just like that. So I'm gonna use this Dutch oven. If you have a Dutch oven that's cast iron, then it's naturally non-stick. But this is ceramic, so I'm gonna have to use a little bit of oil. I'm gonna use grapeseed oil because I can get that crazy hot and it won't smoke. So grapeseed oil is a good substitute for vegetable oil or canola oil. It has absolutely no flavor and a super high smoke point. Some salt, pepper. Okay, so now you want this sizzling hot. That is the way it's gonna get a nice brown color. Got that sizzling nicely. And now a little cumin, some onion powder, some garlic powder. Okay, now some chili powder. There we go. You want that nice deep brown without turning black. Black on your meat is not going to be a good flavor. That's going to be a little bit scorched. But that deep brown is really the color you're looking for. Okay, and now I just need liquid because it's going to cook. It's going to slow cook for several hours. So I'm going to put a little bit of water in there. So that is on low. And then, see, this is up to a boil right now, and then I'm just gonna cover it and let that cook. An hour for every pound. It was 4 pounds, so I'll do it 4 hours. Now, I would probably just do that in the oven, but since I have the chicken in the oven, I'm going to wait till that's done, turn the oven down to 275, and then finish this in the oven the rest of the 4 hours. It's easy to test. Once you just open it, poke at the meat. If it peels apart nicely and shreds, then it's ready. If it's not, then cover it, maybe even add a little bit more liquid and finish it until it does shred nicely. Okay, so now I'm going to start on the potatoes, and like I said, I am going to boil them. Okay, now I'm just going to cut these into bite-sized pieces. So now, boil these. There we go. And I'm gonna add some salt to that just because potatoes absorb so much salt. And now I'm just cutting the veggies for the coconut curry. I'm going to very finely dice the carrots and the onions, just so you're not getting huge chunks of them. I think it's best if you taste the flavor of the broccoli and the peas that I'm going to put in there, and just leave this to be more aromatic, kind of blend in with the rest of the sauce. Now I'm making the curry paste. So, like I said, in place of the lemongrass, I'm going to use the lemon zest. Usually you would use a kaffir lime, but I don't have that, so I'm using lime juice. You would also definitely add chilies into a curry powder, but I'm making it for kids, and my kids do not like spicy food. Unless I'm eating chips and salsa, then apparently they have a tolerance for spice. Powder. Coriander. I like the sea spices. The only one I'm leaving out of this is the cinnamon. Okay, so now that's done, we're gonna start sauteing the vegetables. Then I'll add the curry paste, I'll add the coconut milk. I will cook that down. You can either reduce it and that'll thicken the sauce, or you can just cheat and use cornstarch and that'll thicken it too. At the end, also, Thai curry usually takes shrimp paste. I don't have shrimp paste, so I'm just gonna use soy sauce. So here we go. Ooh, and the oil I'm using for this is coconut oil. Since I'm making a coconut curry, why don't we just use all the flavors? Be similar. going to add the slurry, or the paste, my curry paste. Now time for the coconut milk. Okay. So I mean, that's already, pretty thick. So I probably am not going to add cornstarch to this because it doesn't really need to thicken. This is how I shake the potatoes before I cook them. Get a good grip on it. Okay. So now, they got that, like almost like a rough edge. Like if you were sanding some wood that you had to paint. That's kind of like it is. So now I'll just toss these with a little oil and salt and pepper because there's so much flavor in the sauce and the chicken already. This doesn't really need much more than that. And then I need to put those on a baking sheet. Might do a little bit more oil so they don't stick. Okay, now I'm just boiling the water for the broccoli. Like I said before, you just, kind of salt water, kind of like pasta water. Alright, now I'm just cutting the broccoli into florets. This you could use, if you wanted to chop off all of the sides, you could use that, the inside. The inside is edible, the outsides will get really stringy if you've ever tried to cook it down. Even no matter how much you cook it, it will be too stringy. I even like to pull them apart a little bit more just because it's easier for my kids to eat. Set the timer for 3 minutes. There. Okay, so while I was waiting for things to cook, I added the broccoli and the peas to the curry, and now I'm going to take the potatoes out of the oven. And like I said, see, they got the nice golden brown on there. And then I am going to put the Dutch oven in the oven and turn down the heat to 275 and cook this for another 3 hours until that's ready to go, and then I'll chill it so that it'll be ready for burritos tomorrow. Let me turn this down. Now I'm just going to put it in a casserole dish so it's all ready to serve, and we'll probably reheat it for dinner, and we're all good to go. That's it. And if you have any questions, you can email me at Colleen Zahn with ColleenZahn@gmail.com.